I was born in Chicago, the second oldest of 8 children. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister. Pretty much grew up in the same neighborhood my entire life. I grew up in Beverly on the south side. My 2 grandmothers lived with us most of our life too, so it was a very full house.
Well, I'm from the class of 1948. Was born 3 blocks away from Wrigley Field in Chicago. Happens to be the home of the World Series champion Chicago Cubs. Moved out to the northern suburbs of Chicago, the oldest of 5. Have 2 wonderful sisters. Have lost 2 younger brothers.
Jane and Don were polar opposites in Chicago. Don's from the north side, Jane's from the south side. They grew up in Catholic schools. That Catholic upbringing is what, in the end, means the most to them.
Don was drafted and went into the service. After the service, he came back to do his master's degree at Western Illinois University, where I was an undergraduate.
Jane was an RA in one of the dorms, and I was the grad assistant in another dorm. We got to know a little bit more about each other during the March of Dimes annual fundraiser. I was in trouble when my friends from Quincy came to visit me a month or so after we started dating.
They asked Don's roommate where he was that morning, and he was not only on a bike ride, but he was going on a picnic. And they then said, Hanratty's done, he's getting married. And, and we did. We had a short engagement and were married within a year.
After grad school and college, we moved to Mississippi State University, packed it up and had the wedding gifts in the trunk of the car and went to Starkville, Mississippi. And so we bonded right away. With that experience, it was very different.
Well, we lived with 200 freshman men in a dorm. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we bonded all right.
Yeah. Worked in a community college, and Jane continued to teach school, special education. And then we had the opportunity through Performance Dynamics, a consulting firm in Chicago that I worked with, to run the Southwest. So with the option of Houston or Dallas, we chose Dallas. I had the opportunity to learn from larger consulting companies and smaller consulting companies, and took, I guess, the best parts of both to start our own. The living room in our home became our office, and that's how it started.
They talk about how much you're supposed to have in reserve. We didn't have reserves. Our reserves was knowing that I could go back and teach school if we needed to do that.
We went from, 5 to 50 employees. One of the reasons for that was Georgia Lyons.
I was just the detail person that helped him. No, not me for sure. It was all Don. His vision and commitment to that company grew it to Inc. 500 2 consecutive years in a row.
I called her the daytime wife. She organized Don's daytime, I organized his evenings. Yeah. And I'm wishing she would come back out of retirement. We have 3 children, Kelly, Ryan, and Megan. Ryan and Kelly both live here in Dallas with their families, and Megan and her family live in Seattle.
Growing up with Mom and Dad, it was always about family. We spent a lot of time together.
We were always doing something, playing cards, playing board games, playing basketball.
My parents have always been very proud of their Irish heritage. I think it has instilled a lot of hard work and family values in them.
I see them continue to prioritize that now with all of the grandkids and our growing family.
Lucky. We have 7 grandchildren, 10, 8, 7, 5, 5, 5, and 3.
Some of the biggest smiles you see on my parents' faces are when the grandkids are around.
Watch this, everybody!
It's the Mutual Admiration Society. You got 7 fan club members of Mom and Dad are certainly presidents of the grandkids fan club.
When you have someone like Don and Jane Hanratty that fully believe in the mission of your institution, it's just amazing what can be accomplished.
They roll up their sleeves. They come up with the ideas, but they also roll up their sleeves.
The two of them really have such a sense of service to especially the Catholic community. And that gift is shown in so many different ways.
We've been entrusted to help the presidents and the leaders of the Catholic entities. We've been entrusted by the principals. We've been entrusted by the teachers. There's certainly, plenty to do.
Don was a trustee of the Catholic Foundation for 9 years. In the years 2004 and 2005, I think, he chaired the distribution committee. The distribution committee's job was to grant the available funds from the foundation out into the Catholic community. He got the most out of that committee that any chairman could ever get out of it.
Jane and I were co-chairs of the Catholic Charities New Year's Eve Gala. After that gala, she was on the board for a while of Catholic Charities. She really gave it her all, and that's the way she is.
Whatever it requires, she's willing to do without recognition, without praise. It is what it is, and she does what she does because she enjoys doing it.
One of the things that Don does that most people aren't aware of, he's got over 1,000 hours of volunteering at the VA.
He's a proud veteran, so that's how he gives back.
They're very dignified professionals in the way they do things. They're very caring about the way they carry things out. And they're very devoted.
They have supported Special Olympics in a huge way, not just our daughter, Kristen's local delegation, but they also sponsored the Special Olympic World Games when the World Games were in Ireland.
Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Hanratty. I love them.
I think it is an opportunity to reflect on the good things that the lay people across the diocese have done. Many people that are here this evening are certainly wonderful role models.
There's not very many sisters and priests anymore, and brothers, to carry on the works of the church. And so I think it's important that for us to be carrying on some of those traditions and doing some of the work, but also to be teaching those that come behind us, starting with the small children as they're growing up, that we have to be, this is our job.
They are going to put all their efforts into making whatever gala, whatever charity that they're working on do the best. They are truly hardworking, kind, compassionate people. Everyone should have a Jane and Don Hanratty in their lives.
I think if my parents were stranded on a desert island, they would want to bring their grandkids.
What would they want with them? Well, they would want each other to be there.
A Guinness. Don would.
Jane would want her kids and her
His
grandkids.
golf clubs.
Their children and their grandchildren. That's it.
How many things?
A deck of cards, for sure, so they could play gin.
A full set of clubs and a lot of balls to hit into the ocean.
Dare I say, they would both want some good Jameson around to sustain them while they're there.
They want to have their children, their grandchildren, golf clubs, and Guinness. In no particular, well, that's probably the right order.
I suspect they wouldn't need anything other than themselves. They would be just fine with that.
The original name for the tournament was Bishop Farrell Golf and Guinness. There had not been a diocese-wide golf event for many years.
Truth be told, Bishop Farrell wasn't really on board at first. Don had a number of conversations with him, and he said, absolutely not. There are too many golf tournaments.
And Don said, no, this is going to be different. This is going to be different.
The bishop finally acquiesced. And he said, okay, Don, we can do it. With no expectations. He said, so go talk to Urbanus, and you guys figure out who the recipients are going to be from the money that's raised. So we came up with the brilliant idea of, why don't we use the money we raise to go help deserving students.
The kids love coming. They're proud of their schools. They're proud of their uniforms. And, They're probably proud of the fact that they get out of school that morning too.
We've just completed our 6th year of the Bishop Farrell Invitational. And because of Don Hanratty's persistence and because of Don and Jane's leadership, we've now raised $3.2 million in those 6 years and have helped over 2,000 deserving students attend Catholic schools.
I call their generosity quiet generosity because they don't make a fuss, they don't want anybody to know. And we probably, even me being there for 15 years and watching and listening behind the scenes, I probably don't even know half the stuff they've done.
Just to be around them, knowing that they care so much about what's going on in the community and how they can help make it better is an inspiration.
When asked, what would you be without the Hanrattys? Quite simply, not as good.
They have big arms and they wrap as much as they can in those arms.
I think Jane and Don need to know that my mom and dad are looking down on them and so proud.
They work for other people, and they enjoy doing it. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit, joy.
Their sense of fun in how we approach life and in whatever we're doing just invites people to want to be around them.
They've formed a really great partnership, and again, with those common goals, they've been able to make a huge contribution, not only to our Catholic community, but our overall community here in Dallas. So I'm very proud of them.
It's just a true blessing that they're my parents. And just thank you from the bottom of my heart and Kate's heart.
My parents tell us daily that they are very proud of us, and I think that we are extremely proud to be their children. Yeah.
My grandmother used to tell me back when I was a kiddo that people will either add years to your life or take years away from your life. Those that add years to your life, stick to them as long as you can. That's what Jane and Don do. They add years to my life and to everyone else they touch.